पवित्रत्व सर्गोमशा धामना स्वेन सदा नरस्तकोकं सत्यं परम धीमहि धर्मः प्रोजितकैतवत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनं श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परईश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यते अत्र कृतभिः शुश्रूषभिः तक्षणात् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखात् अमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये. Hare Krishna. So today we are into Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, chapter 5 and shloka number 14. So before getting into this shloka, let's try to understand what is what in the beginning of the chapters. So Vidura, incarnation of Yamadharmaraja, who has been not treated well during the wartime by the Kauravas, he left the house due to the misunderstanding in the family, and he went for the Tirthayatra. Actually, Prabhupada writes, when this happened, Vidura was very happy about it, the misunderstanding in the family. The reason being, he completely utilized that wonderful opportunity by going to the Tirthayatra and learning more about the Krishna consciousness. But a common man will think, oh, why the misunderstanding with the family? We are with the family, so attached, all these things. But here Vidura is a top class devotee of the Lord. He took it in the right sense and he went out. So while he is going to Haridwar, there he met Maitreya Muni. And let's try to understand who is Maitreya Muni also. Maitreya Muni is a top class Jnani. Jnani in the sense Jnanamarg. Top class in the sense he is completely thorough with all the science of Shastras. No? He is thorough with the even astrology also. Many of you might have heard in the horoscope and even in the astrology, they say Hora. Hora is very important. Hora means there is a duration which is very convenient or congenial for conducting some auspicious activities. So Hora also they look at it. No? It is the planetary movements which also helps them. So he is a specialist in the Hora Shastra. Who is that? Maitreya Muni. Then his father's name, let us try to understand. His father's name is Kusarava. What is his name? Kusarava. That's why Maitreya Muni has got another name as called as Kausharava. What is that? Kausharava. So this Maitreya Muni, in his prime days, it is explained in the Padma Puran, he learnt or he went for studies to Parashara Muni, and from him he learnt the Samaveda very wonderfully. So he is a very good exponent of the Samaveda also. So this way, here Maitreya Muni once visited Kaurava Sabha to advise them to return the kingdom to Pandavas. But Duryodhana, as usual, behaved very badly and not treated him well. He also cursed this Kauravas. They will be destroyed very soon because after 14 years of exile, they will be coming and he will be killed. So like this, there are so many wonderful qualities of Maitreya Muni. And again, Maitreya Muni is very, very fortunate. The reason being, he was very close to Krishna like Uddhava. As Krishna left the earth planet to his abode, so he called out Uddhava as well as Maitreya Muni. So they all learnt lots and lots of lessons, instructions from Krishna. So this way, Maitreya Muni is a top class Jnani and he is a thorough devotee in all aspects. He is also called as Bhagavan. Prabhupada writes in his purport. The reason being, he is always concerned about the common man. So this is a very great quality and he keeps on preaching throughout. So because we are fortunate to get this wonderful narration between Vidura and Maitreya, Bhagavatam also is glorified in this process. So let's move on to this shloka. So both Maitreya Muni as well as Vidura, they met in the Haridwar and the discussion and the conversation is going on. So let's move on to the shloka here. Tan Sochyan Avidho Anushoche Hare Katayam Vimukan Nagena Kshinoti Devo Animishastu Yesham Ayurvrata Gati Smrtinam. Okay, one more time. Tan Shocyan Avido Anushoche Harer Katayam Vimukan Nagena Shinoti Deva Animishastu Yesham Ayurvrata Vadagati Smrtinam. So, when we talk about the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya, one can understand it is highly philosophical in the sense the message is a little strong, but it is the facts and all Satya. So, one must be able to understand how deep it is and how it is important for all human beings, because both of them are completely concerned. Vidura as well as Maitreya are concerned about the common man. The reason being, the Kali Yuga is going to come and all will be suffering due to so many miseries. So to uplift them, he has given this wonderful message. So coming to the shloka here, Tan Shocyan Avido Anushoche. So when we say that, immediately Ashochan Anushochatam, we will always remember that in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Here, it's a pity. Shocyan, dono same, similar meaning with a slight difference. Then again, Anushoche means again, Vidura is concerned about all, right? So this way, the translation, let's go to that. Before that, we will read the word by word meaning. Tan, all those, Shochya, pitiable, Shochyan, of the pitiable, Avidaha, ignorant. Vida means jnana, Avida means the opposite, ignorant. Anushoche, I pity, Harehe, of the Lord, Katayam, to the topics of Vimukan, averse, again, because of sinful activities, Shinoti, Shin, that means it is getting reduced. Here also it says decaying. Devaha, the Lord, Animishaha, eternal time, tu, but Yesham, of whom, Ayuhu, duration of life, Prataha, uselessly, Vada, philosophical speculation, Gati, ultimate goal, Smrtinam, of those following different rituals. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O sage, persons who, because of their sinful activities, are averse to the topics of transcendence and thus ignorant of the purpose of the Mahabharata, within bracket, Bhagavad Gita, are pitied by the pitiable. I also pity them because I see how their duration of life is spoiled by eternal time, while they involve themselves in presentation of philosophical speculations, theoretical ultimate goals of life, and different modes of ritual. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. According to the modes of material nature, there are three kinds of relationship between human beings and Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who are in the modes of ignorance and passion are averse to the existence of God, or else they formally accept the existence of God in the capacity of an order supplier. Above them are those who are in the mode of goodness. The second class of men believe the Supreme Person Brahman is to be impersonal. They accept the cult of bhakti, in which hearing the Krishna Katha is the first item, as a means and not the end. Above them are those who are pure devotees. They are situated in the transcendental stage above the mode of the material goodness. Such persons are decidedly convinced that the name, form, fame, qualities, etc. of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are non-different from one another on the absolute plane. For them, hearing of the topics of Krishna is equal to meeting with him face to face. According to this class of men who are situated in the pure devotion service to the Lord, the highest goal of human life is Purushartha, devotional service to the Lord, the real mission of life. The impersonalists, because they engage in mental speculation and they have no faith in the personality of Godhead, have no business in hearing the topics of Krishna. Such persons are pitiable for first-class pure devotee of the Lord. The pitiable impersonalists pity those who are influenced by the modes of ignorance and passion. But the pure devotees of the Lord take pity on them both, because both waste their most valuable time in human life in false pursuits, namely sense enjoyment and mental speculative presentations of different theories and goals of life. Hare Krishna. So let's try to analyze. There are a few things we have to remember in this purport. Prabhupada talks about three kinds of people. So when we say three kinds of people, here one is the category who are falling under the Rajoguna and Tamoguna. So whenever we say Rajoguna, it is always indicative throughout in the Bhagavad Gita also. Krishna says, those who are in the Rajoguna, they are always attached to material things. Tamoguna is the one which is lazy and ignorant. But when it comes to the spiritual knowledge, even the Rajoguna people are also slightly ignorant. Then further talking about the next level, here Prabhupada talks that who are in the Sattva Guna. So they are always thinking the Lord impersonal. So they attach themselves to that and they always try to speculate a lot. This is the problem with this category. But to some extent, they accept there is Lord. But when we talk about the passionate and the ignorant people, many of them, they do not accept the existence of Lord. The reason being, they are atheists almost. Then, in that category also, some portion of the passionate people. In another lecture, I heard from His Holiness Bhakti Vigna Narsingha Swami Maharaj, he says, the Tamoguna, to some extent, they understand the acceptance Lord, but they accept the Lord is only an order supply. So the problem with them is also they are not able to understand the science of Godhead precisely. Then coming back to the higher level, slightly more, we talked about just now, who are in the Sattva Guna, but the problem with the Sattva Guna people, they attach themselves only to the Brahman. So this category of people, they always look and believe the Lord is impersonal. That is the problem. So this category also not okay because they speculate. They don't accept things. And there is a problem for this type of people. Or, see, they take up bhakti, but unfortunately, they take it in a different fashion. So let us look into the different type of bhakti levels. No, we have studied in the Bhakti Shastri also, many of you, the three different level of bhaktis. No, that is Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Karma Mishra Bhakti, and Dhyana Mishra Bhakti. So these are all different type of mixtures. They are not pure devotees. That's why Prabhupada, he writes, they are having, but unfortunately, they don't have the proper bhakti understanding. So they don't believe in listening to the wonderful narrations of the Lord. Then the third category, the highest one, Prabhupada described here is, this type of devotees, they rise above the material Sattva Guna. That's why it is given here, they rise above the material Sattva Guna, because Sattva Guna gives you some sort of a punya, but beyond that one has to rise. That is called as Shuddha Sattva. Because only when you reach the level of Shuddha Sattva, even if you look at the Harinam Chintamani, Haridas Thakur, Namacharya Haridas Thakur explains to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that one comes to the level of the Shuddha Sattva, they can get the ruchi of the name. They can get the Shraddha, everything down below, but when they reach this level, they get the ruchi of it. That's why Haridas Thakur, though he was in the material world, he was not at all attached to any of the material things. He was always above this material plane. So this way, we can understand this third category of devotees, they remain above this. That means they always understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his various energies. So that's why if you look at the Bhagavatam and other places also, we always get this shloka very often. What is that? Parasha Shakti Vividaiva Shuyate. That means the Lord's energies are different, but that does not mean it is different from the Lord. So here Prabhupada writes, the four different energies of the Lord are non-different from the Supreme Lord. So who is considering the third category, who are in the transcendental position or who are above the material sattva. So these devotees are the topmost devotees because they accept the process of bhakti in a pure state of mind. So that's why they are able to accept the Lord's transcendental name, the Lord's transcendental form, the Lord's transcendental qualities, and the Lord's transcendental leelas or the pastimes. So when we talk about it, one should remember instantly, because in the Bhagavad Gita, we always quote very often, Janma Karma Chameti. So here we are talking about four categories with which one can easily go back to Godhead. The reason being, because the Lord will not be present for all every time. So he gives his energy so that one can get connected, so that they can go back to Godhead. So this way we can understand this is the real ultimate goal of life. So when we talk about the Purushartha, right? Purushartha is very well defined in the Bhagavatam. No? I remember His Holiness Bhanuswami Maharaj very often says about the Bhagavatam. So there are three levels in the Srimad Bhagavatam. First level, one gains the knowledge. What is the knowledge? The ultimate knowledge, right? Then with the knowledge, one gets the Vairagya. One gets detached from these material things. Then Maharaj says the third level is the Bhakti. This level of Bhakti is the topmost. So when we talk about Srimad Bhagavatam, even in the history of Sukadeva Goswami, he was self-realized, but when it comes to the Bhagavatam, he's got attracted. So like this, Bhagavatam is ultimate and Bhagavatam gives the Bhakti. So this way, the Purushartha, again defined by Narada Muni to Dhruva Maharaj. So this comes in the fourth canto, wherein he describes Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Mokshatyam, Yaiche, Shreya, Atmanaha, Ekam hi eva hares tatra karanam pada sevanam. So here, when he is advising Dhruva Maharaj, being a Kshatriya community, he is telling these are the four type of Purushartha. But for all this category, they have to approach the Supreme Lord. So as you know that, this is coming exactly in the fourth canto, 8th chapter, shloka number 48 or something like that. So before he gives the beautiful description of the God, at that time he says, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Dharma means the religious things, and the Dharma, Artha. Artha means the money, what is we are always attached to. Money is sweeter than honey, Prabhupada, right? So Dharma, Artha, Kama. Kama is the desires, right? Then Moksha. Moksha, according to the Vaishnava philosophy, it's also considered as one of the type of desire. One should not desire for it. But again, Narada Muni explains to Dhruva Maharaj, all these four are again, they have to go back to Godhead only to obtain it. There is no other way. That's why he says, take the lotus feet of the Lord directly instead of going through this. So the ultimate Purushartha, even in this purport, Prabhupada explains, one who takes up pure devotional service and one who accepts the Lord and the Lord's energies are non-different. What are the four energies? You have to remember it, because if you look at the Bhagavatam, everywhere, these four things are glorified throughout, right? I'll repeat once again, because Bhagavatam, if you look at it throughout, the transcendental holy name is glorified like anything. Then when we talk about the transcendental form of the Lord, again, so many stutis in Bhagavatam, starting from Kunti Sthiti, or even before that, one or two small stutis. One is Arjuna Stuti, one is Uttara Stuti. Even in this also, the Lord's wonderful qualities are described. As we go further into Bhishma Stuti and so on, all the stutis glorify the wonderful form of the Lord, even the Dhruva Stuti also. Like this. Then, when we talk about the transcendental qualities, it is described in Gajendra Stuti, in Brahma prayers, and all. Then when we talk about the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, it is again spread all over. Especially when we look at the Indra's prayers also, there he talks about the qualities of the Lord. Vishuddha Sattvam. So the Lord remains always in the Vishuddha Sattvam, and the devotees should remain in the Shuddha Sattva. Then only they can understand the Vishuddha Sattva. These are the things which we have to understand. So here, these four aspects are primarily important for all of us. The reason is Bhagavatam propounds the highest truth. What is the highest truth? He is the absolute truth. Satyam Param Dhimahi. So when we say Satyam Param Dhimahi, he is the absolute truth. There is no truth beyond that. So when we understand this purport, Prabhupada says he is the absolute truth means everything connected to him, or all his energies which is connected to him, he is always absolute truth. That's why the holy name itself, again when we go to the Harinama Chintamani, also there Haridas Thakur explains the importance of the holy name. At one stage, he is explaining to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is able to see the wonderful form of the Lord, he is able to get attracted towards the wonderful pastimes and the qualities through the holy name. So that means see the level of ruchi in the holy name for him. So like this, if we go one after another, everything is so wonderful, right? We talked about so much of the third category of devotee, what Prabhupada explained. So let us try to understand the other categories. What are they? The first category, who are in the Rajoguna, and the Tamoguna. So these two, they are attached to, as I told you, either they are not having any faith, the Lord is present, and sometimes they have faith, but what they look for, order supply. So if you look at it now, in India or above all, also everywhere, you can see people in general fall into this category. Because what they do some little austerity, or they pray to the Lord and ask for something. And all the time, they go to the Lord repeatedly looking for something to be given as benediction. But when you look at it, devotee of the Lord, pure devotee of the Lord, he will never ask for any benediction. So there are so many things, right from Prahlad Maharaj, Guru Maharaj, they never ask for any benediction, including Muchkunda also. Like this, right? So this type of devotee, they look for as an order supply. So when we talk about this order supply, I remember one of the Sri Vaishnava Acharya, he is explaining so beautifully. One person, he went on to Tirumala Tirupati repeatedly. What did he do? Every time he'll go and do Anga Pradakshana and ask for some prayers. Every time the Lord was giving him whatever he was asking for. One time, right in front of the Lord, he happened to stay for a few minutes. At the time, he was praying deeply. Again, he was asking for some material things. At that time, the Lord smiled. When the Lord smiled, it was something very interesting. What happened? He could not understand why the Lord is smiling at him. Why the Lord is smiling at him. So immediately, 1 minute. So, sorry. So when the Lord was smiling at him, the devotee was wondering why the Lord is smiling. Then the Lord told him, see, I was ready to give something very much important for you, but you are all asking for petty things. Then this fellow was asking, what is that? Then he said, I was ready to come with you, but all this time you are asking petty things, and I have been giving you. Okay, go ahead with this, whatever you ask for. Like this, we go and ask the Lord for so many petty things, but unfortunately, we never ask the Lord himself. So that we can understand, Arjuna asked for the Lord, not for anything else, whereas Duryodhana asked for the military. So here, this is the understanding. He is not an order supplier. We have to primarily understand. Is that is the case, our bhakti will be of no use. It is a waste. That's why here it is explained, waste of time. In the shloka, what does it say? It is, the shloka says, the word comes in kshinoti ayuhu. Kshinoti ayuhu means their lifetime is reduced. So when we say Shinoti Ayuhu, one can instantly remember the wonderful shloka from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is in 2:17. That is Ayur Harati Vaipumsam. Can you display it, please? Hare Krishna, Prabhu, if you can. Now I am going in a different order. 2:17. Yeah, thank you. 2:3:17. Sorry. So in this sloka, what does it say? Again, it is instruction. Ayur harati vaipumsam udyan astam chayannaso tasyarte kshanonita uttama shloka vartaya. Even in this translation, what is written here? Sinful activity averse to the topics of transcendence, because they are devoid of the knowledge of Lord. So here they have no desire to listen to the Uttama Shloka. So what happened to them? Ayur Harati. So their lifetime is reduced. How it is reduced? Vaipumsam means the common man. Udyan. Udyan means every time the sun rises. Udayam, right? Then Astam. Astam means the sunset. Chayannaso. So for common man, their lifetime is reduced for every sunrise and every sunset. But the next line, what does it say? Tasyarte kshanonita uttama shloka vartaya. For a pure devotee of the Lord, it does not work. The reason is they are always attached to the Lord, and they are always remaining youthful. They are always joyful. They are always enthusiastic. This is explained even if you look at the wonderful Adi Shankara's Nanda Nandashtakam. He talks about the Lord, Dine Dine Navam Navam. When he talks about the Lord, as he says, every moment he is youthful. So the devotees who worship him, those who surrender to him fully, they also remain always youthful. Though they become getting old, their enthusiasm and their activities are always youthful. You can see for one good example, our Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, who is always, even at this stage also, he is always enthusiastic and joyful. This is very important. So that shloka defines the lifetime is not getting reduced. So coming back to that next level of understanding, here there is one shloka in the Bhagavatam. It is 10:1-4. It talks about people are wasting their life and they completely lose their lifetime itself because they don't have any taste for the topics of the Lord. So as we see that second category of people, no, they are always ready to speculate things, but they are not ready to listen to the wonderful topics of the Lord. Why? Because it says here, no, this is very important. This is also often quoted by Srila Prabhupada. Nivurtata shair upagiyamanat bhava aushata shrotra manobhiramat. Manobhiramat means it attracts, it gives pleasant, sweet, nectarian things. Mana means for the mind. What does it say now? Ka uttama shloka, whose wonderful narration. Ka uttama shloka gunanuvadat. Gunanu means the qualities of the Lord. Anuvadat means it's a description of the transcendental qualities of the Lord. Then what does it say? Those who have no taste for it, puman prajeta bina pashugnat. That means those who are butchers and those who have aversion, as the shloka also is an aversion. Aversion means they don't have desire to listen to the topics. That's why Prabhupada made repeatedly the Navavita Bhakti, and he talked about certain things in the temple procedures. What is that? Morning Mangalarti, immediately Bhagavata Katha, Then throughout the day, you are serving the Lord. Again, evening also Bhagavad Gita. That means the primary importance is given to the listening. And listening means what? Listening to the transcendental topics. One should not try to speculate, because with our limited knowledge, one cannot understand the unlimited at all at any time. That's why all this parampara system, all these acharyas, all these gurus. Why? Because that's why the Bhagavatam also explained, people in Kali Yuga will have limited knowledge or forgetfulness, all mandaha samandamatayo, which describes they have got lots of difficulties, they cannot get it. That's why even in this shloka also it is explained here, such a person will be wasting their lifetime. And what does it say? I will just read the translation. This is a very wonderful translation. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the parampara system and conveyed from the spiritual master to disciple. Such a glorification is relished. I'll tell you repeatedly, I request all the devotees, never use any word as enjoyed in any of these spiritual activities. Because according to His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, the enjoyment is a temporary affair. And this enjoyment is related to the material thing. One should always use the word relish. I relish Srimad Bhagavatam. I relish the holy name. I relish the prasadam. So you always use this word. That's what here Prabhupada writes the word relished by those no longer interested in false. Here in this shloka, what we are looking at it here, what Vidura is telling, those who have no taste for the Lord and they follow something which is false. What is that false? They try to speculate. This may be, that may be. That means they are not sure. Because why they are not sure? They are not having full knowledge. That's what Prabhupada writes, poor fund of knowledge. So here, that's what he says, no longer interested in false. So such a person, a pure devotee, will not look for anything which is speculative, which is false. He will look for the absolute truth. That's why he says, no, temporary glorification of the caustic manifestation. That's also he is rejecting. So that means a pure devotee of the Lord even rejects the temporary glorification of the caustic manifestation. Right? Then further, when we talk about this false, always we remember, no? Brahma Satyam Jagat Mityam. But Prabhupada clearly mentions Jagat Mityam, though according to the certain philosophical Shankara team, they say it is false. It is not false. It is temporary. Prabhupada explains very clearly, there is a Jagat which is fact, but the only thing, it is a temporary one. So that's why it is written here, temporary glorification of cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medium of the conditioned soul. What is that? That's the right medium. That means narration of four. What we said? Name, form, quality, and past tense. So these are very important for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Right? Kuman. Okay. Then therefore, who will cease? Who will stop hearing? A wise person will never stop listening to this, all these transcendental narrations, which is always, that's why Bhagavatam is called as Rasamalayam. Pipada Bhagavatam Rasa. So everywhere it talks about the Rasa, the ultimate Rasa. What is that? This is the most nectarian. Even if you look at the Kulasekar Alvar, when he talks about the holy name in the Mukunda Mala, he says, Krishna Rasayanam Pibha. What does he say? Krishna Rasayanam. So forget about all these medicinal things. Take the ultimate elixir. What Prabhupada writes, the word here is elixir. Elixir means the ultimate aushadha. So here also it takes, therefore, who will cease to listen to hearing the glories of the Lord except a butcher. Except a butcher here means one can very clearly say, one who tries to speculate, one who tries to manipulate, they are also called as butchers, because they don't accept the parampara system, they don't accept the disciplic succession. That's why such a person, what happens to him, or one who is killing his own self. Always there is a doubt coming for many of the person who are listening to this particular last line. What does it say? One who is killing his own self. They are asking, is it Atmahatya? Many people are asking, is it suicide? Again, we have to understand the purport also. Prabhupada explains, they waste their life. They spoil their human form, right? Because we see from the Bhagavatam, Durlabham Manusham Janma, n number of places mentioned. So, but this type of people, those who are trying to speculate, those who are trying to manipulate the real Shastric things, and they do not know what is the science of Godhead, such a persons are wasting their lifetime. That's why, again, when we talk about the shloka, it says Ayurvrita Vada, right? Then, interestingly, there is one more aspect. Let's move on to the shloka number 1510. See, again, when I am talking this shloka, this is also very important. See, a Hamsa Pakshi and a crow, right? A swan and a crow. Such a huge difference. This is also explained so well. Nayadvachas chitrapadam hare reshoho jagat pavitram prakrnita karhichit tadvayasham tirtam ushanti manasa nayatra hamsa niramanti usikshaya. So such a wonderful verse. Can you go to the translation, Prabhu? Sriranga Prabhu, can you read the translation, please?
Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows, since the all perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode. They do not derive any pleasure there.
Hare Krishna. So that means we are to be very careful. Why this particular shloka I referred here is, people are misguided. That is the biggest problem. So I just now you're talking about this speculation, and they talk and try to manipulate. So when we go to that place, we are considered as a crow. That's why it is mentioned here, which do not describe. I'll tell you, I don't want to mention the name. There are so many wonderful speakers in India, especially in South India. They speak for hours together. And what they do, I don't want to mention again. It is from South India. He used to come to Chennai and he used to give lectures for hours together, 2-3 hours. Who will go? All rich persons, all elite society. When we say elite society, again, what we are reading from the Vidura and Maitreya conversation, right? They think the Lord is an order supply. The next thing is they speculate things. These type of people go and listen for hours together, and they come out and say, oh, what a fantastic lecture. Such a beautiful lecture. He was talking hours together in the bombastic style of English, right? They talk so much about after coming out of the lecture. If you go and ask any one of them who was listening to the lecture, did he talk anything about Govinda or Krishna, anything of that time? Then the person who was listening will blink for a while. He will not have any answer for you. What is the use of it? So any person who goes to such type of narrations which do not describe, they are called as crows. So crow goes to where? We understand it goes to gutters, it goes to filthy places, right? It never goes to a wonderful place, right? Where there is milk or where there is fragrance. So then the next line, it says, since the ultimate goal of the persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive pleasure. We have to understand the very, very important word here. What does it say? Let's see here. Since all perfect persons, what does it say? All perfect persons will never go there, because there is no narration of the Supreme Lord. So here also we can understand this philosophical speculation presentation. And what do they say here? Theoretical ultimate goal of life. So they think that is ultimate. So they catch hold of Brahman and they say this is ultimate. And they think the Lord is impersonal. This is another biggest problem with them, right? So I don't want to mention again those who wear this white dress and go, no, Brahma Kumari team. They think that's ultimate. So sometime back when I went to Manipal, I happened to meet one of them because they were neighbors in the building. I was asking what type of thing you are doing, what is the exact ultimate aim of life. They say we have to merge with the Jyoti. And I asked, do you lose your form? No, that is we are one with the Lord. Like that they talk. So all these speculations, all these manipulations, theoretical, it is not going to help them at all. So even the bombastic style I was just not telling, no. Again, Adi Shankara explains in the Bhaja Govindam. Nahi nahi rakshati dukren karne. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. So all this flowery language, all this wonderful, or I cannot say wonderful, all these manipulations will never come to help at all. So we can understand how one has to be very, very cautious. One should not fall into this type of traps because we will be in deep trouble. So we should take utmost care when it comes to this type of people. So coming back to this eternal time, when we say kalaha kalayatamaham, the clicking or the ticking of the time is always there. And each and every one of us should be utmost care, taking care of this. The reason being, we do not know how far it is going to be, right? But let us make use of it right now, taking up the holy name, chanting the holy name. Because as it is explained here, the transcendental topics means it includes the holy name. One who recites the holy name, one who was talking about this wonderful narrations also gives you immense pleasure. So coming back to this purport, let us try to understand the last paragraph, last portion of this, right? See, there are three categories we saw now. And the first category is one who is not believing in God, but sometimes they look at the Lord as the order supplier. On them, who is pitying? The second category. Who is the second category? They always look for Brahman. They try to always manipulate or speculate. And so such people, they pity on this type of people who is only looking at the Lord as an order supplier. So the next level, again, Vidura says very clearly, I pity on these two both. The reason being, both are wasting their lifetime because they either look for material enjoyment or looking for again and again chewing the chewed. What is that? Chewing the chewed. Who is telling? Prahlad Maharaj in his instruction, he says, Punah Punaha Charvita Charvananam. Prabhupada always quote this because in this material world, unfortunately, we come across this material enjoyment, but somehow or other, Maya is again and again keeps tossing in this. So though we know this enjoyment which is going to be derived is temporary, still people are after it. But again, at the end of the enjoyment, they feel, oh, there is nothing in it. They give some respite, again they come back for the same thing. That means this type of people are considered in these two categories. So they look for enjoyment. The second category, they look for Brahman and they speculate. So both the categories, they waste their lifetime thoroughly because their understanding is of the poor category and they are not willing to. That is another biggest problem. So they are not ready to accept the ultimate, what is the good for goal of life. What is the goal of life? Very simple. Everywhere it says, no, Dullabam Manusham Dhanma Tatapi Adrum Arthadham. What is the Artha? Artha means the meaning of human life. What does it say? Again, in the Bhagavatam 11th canto also we can hear it, no? What is the beginning of the sloka? Even in the first canto also there is wonderful sloka. Tyaktva Swadharmam Sharanam Bhujam Harehe Bhajanna Pakko. What does it say? That verse, Tyaktva Swadharmam Charanam Bhujam Harehe. One who takes up the lotus feet of the Lord, even if they leave, Tyaktva means they discard or disown, Swadharmam, Apna Swadharmam, that is our original, what is called the occupational duty. But if they take up the ultimate, what is that ultimate? Swadharmam is not the ultimate. Because that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was discussing with Ramananda Rai, he says, even one who looks for the Varnashrama Dharma, if it is kept to that level, still it is not sufficient. One should keep Krishna in the center. This is very important. So one should remember it. Tyaktva swadharmam charanambujam harehe bhajanna apakku atapate tatoyati yatra kvava badram abudamushikim ko varta abhajatam swadharmataha. So here, even the slightest, this is what it says. This particular shloka talks about even the slightest efforts in the listening to the narration or listening to the glories of the Lord, the pure devotional service, one gets back, immediately go back to higher level of bhakti. But when somebody tries to speculate or then they try to do some theories out of it, this is really dangerous. So they will be end up in wasting their lifetime only. So one should be very cautious, making use of their full lifetime, completely surrendering to the lotus feet of the Lord. This is also very important. The last sentence is much more important here. The pitiable impersonalist, what does it say here? Such persons, the impersonalists, because of they engage in mental speculation, have no faith in the personality of Godhead. They have no business in hearing the topic. What does it say? Prabhupada says they have no business. That means they have no taste for it, unfortunately. But whereas, remember, Sukadeva Goswami, just listening one or two shlokas of the Bhagavatam, instantly he got attracted. Remember, he is on the topmost plane of the self-realized soul. There is nothing left out for him in this material world. He was not willing to come out of his mother's womb. Then Vyasadeva had to call Krishna for help, and when Krishna came, he came out. So for such a person, Bhagavatam is so tasty, right? That means Bhagavatam, beyond that, nothing is there. That's why if you look at our 6 Goswamis, Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who gives all these authorities on the samskaras, everything, he repeatedly says the ultimate for this yuga is the Bhagavata Dharma. Again, when we go back to Bhagavatam, also Krishna himself says, Krishna Swadhama Bhagate Dharma Jnanadibhi Saha Kalau Nashta Dashamesham Puranarko Adunoditaha. As the Lord leaves for his abode, both Maitreya and Uddhava asked the question, where in the place called where it's a transcendental holy dham, it's called as Prabhasa Kshetra. In the Bhagavatam, it is mentioned as Prabhasa Kshetra. Presently, they call it as Somnath in Gujarat. What is that called? Somnath. In Somnath, the Lord left for his abode. At that time, both Uddhava and Maitreya, they questioned the Lord. If you go, who will maintain the Dharma? Then the Lord explained very clearly, Puranarko Adunoditaha. What is that? Among the Puranas is the Amala Purana, and from that the race comes, which will maintain the religious principles. That's why in our Gaudiya Sampradaya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu repeatedly says, Bhagavatam is ultimate for the devotees of God. Because there is nothing beyond that. That too, giving charity of Bhagavatam is much more glorified, right? Even you remember his divine grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, one time he mentioned openly and very boldly, burn all books except the Bhagavatam. The reason is there is nothing else required. That's why even in the Bhagavatam it says, no, Kivva Paraid Ishvaraha. Then at the end of the 12th canto also, it is explained in the Sabha, when the Bhagavatam is kept, all other Puranas have no value in front of it. So that's why we are insisting Bhagavatam again and again. If you look at this particular today's shloka, that is 3.5.14, it talks about the transcendental narration. One must keep on listening. So such a devotee is called the topmost devotee according to this. What does it say? Prabhupada explains, I will repeat it because this is a very, very important line, the highest category. Above them means above the two categories, Prabhupada says, are those who are pure devotees, Ananya Bhakti, without any expectation, without any tinge of desire, material desire. And Prabhupada, what does he say further here? They are situated in the transcendental stage, which is called as Shuddha Sattva, and the mode of material goodness. Such persons are decidedly convinced that the name, form, fame, qualities, the same four items remaining, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are non-different from one another. That means there is no difference. This is the ultimate. Non-different from one another on the absolute plane. That's why the very first shloka, no, we call it as the Vedanta Sutra. What is the shloka? Janmadhyasya. At the end, what is it? Satyam Param Dhimahi. So when we talk about the Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Shama Sundara, from him, his four things are non-different. What are they? The quality of the Lord, the holy name of the Lord, the wonderful form of the Lord, and the wonderful pastimes of the Lord. All are four. I'll tell you one good example, right? A person materially impoverished and materially miserable, right? Such a person, you just tell him, come to a Bhagavatam class once, right? The moment he comes and sits, no, the wonderful transcendental sound that comes from the Srimad Bhagavatam instantly capture the Atma connection. So automatically, such a person within 40 minutes or 1 hour, he listens to the Bhagavatam. When he comes out, he can see a bright face. Because the real connection for a suffering, miserable soul in this Kali Yuga is the only one, is the transcendental sound vibration, which is the Srimad Bhagavatam and which is the ultimate for all. So, according to this class of men who are situated in pure devotion service to the Lord, the highest goal of human life is the Purushartha. What is the Purushartha? This is the highest goal. Devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Eka Bhaktir Vishishyate. Bhagavad Gita, he says, right? So one can direct all that devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Automatically, one gets rid of all this miserable condition, and one can utilize their human form in such a wonderful way. Hare Krishna. So I want to have some more time for question answers. Hopefully there will be.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Class. Thank you. So, any devotees, if you have any questions, please mute yourself and you can ask. Yes, Kaviruba Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Dandat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Wonderful lectures Prabhuji. Dandat Pranam. Very nice, nicely explained. One thing which I learned is like the word relish. Like we have to use the release whenever we hear Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, whenever we refer about that, like rather than saying enjoyment, we should say that. That's very wonderful. Not only that, we have learned a lot in this today's lecture, Prabhuji. Since you are leaving, I just have only one questions. I hope we will have a regular, constant association, and wherever you go, you will still remember us and you will associate with us. But just want to say, like as you rightly mentioned, from Sattva to Suddha Sattva, to get the Ruchi, and that based on your practice and other thing, as I am a fallen devotee, like I just want to understand what is the practice and how do we purify ourselves to get that Suddha Sattva and I get the Ruchi. Prabhuji, maybe
Hare
with
Krishna.
few things which you can share, which we
Yeah.
will also get into that Ruchi. Like you
Hare Krishna.
constantly, I can see that you and Mataji were constantly were thinking, remembering Law 24/7 hours, and for the devotees as well. That's why I just want to ask this question, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. To be precise, your question is very wonderful. But interestingly, we have not tasted this Ruchi so far. and we have not reached the Shuddha Sattva. But we are constantly, as you said, the constantly word cannot be used also. I am still Grahastha Asrama. I have got some attachment to other things also. But we are trying to dedicate more time. This is what we are trying to do. See, well, one thing I tell you, when it comes to the chanting of the holy names, we have heard so many instructions from all the gurus. What do they say? That is ultimate. Keep doing it. The Nama itself will purify you. The Nama will itself lead you to the Ruchi. Again, I have to go back to, again, Harinam Chintamani. Harinam Chintamani in, I think so, chapter 14 or 13, Haridas Thakur explains, this is the process and this is the goal. That means, one initially when they start chanting the holy name, the taste will never come at all. Because around so much of material contamination and we have accumulated so many things will not allow us to go further. So what is more important? The repeated chanting, as all the Guru says, it completely cleanses all the contamination. Again, there is a possibility of accumulating, but one constantly doing it. That's a word, it's written here, constantly. Right? Even if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Satatam Kirtayantvamam. Krishna says, he is not telling, like, what is it? Satatam. If you look at everywhere, no, all, even the Bhagavatam also, lots of shlokas, it talks about continuously. There cannot be. Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. Many people misunderstand Nitya means every day. It's not every day. So, the narrations of the Lord, as we see, the Bhagavatam, initially, one will get lots of attraction in the katha form, in a humble way. As they go and touch the Srimad Bhagavatam of Srila Prabhupada, then they have more attraction towards that. To be precise, myself and Geeta, in our earlier days, I have to thank my parents and she has to also thank. Because why I am telling this particular thing? Because in the childhood days, we used to go with mother to the temple on a daily basis in the morning. So that is the thing which we always, morning Mangala Darshan in Srinathji. Second thing, every evening, I used to catch my mother's hand. We go to the Katha in Kumbakonam always. Every day there will be Katha, Bhagavad Katha, Ramayan Katha. Like. So that story form, what is mentioned here, transcendental narrations. It's a Krishna Katha. So that means this is also gives the attraction. Reason is, as explained here, it contains, when we say that narrations, whether it is Ramayana or Bhagavad, no, what happened? It contains all these four things, right? So naturally, you get some attraction. Then when you get into, we are also same category. As we touch the Prabhupada Bhagavatam, then the real mercy flowed from Prabhupada and the Guru. This I can say very clearly. So the taste increases because the way Prabhupada explains and the way Prabhupada puts it precisely, because I was fortunate to join the Bhagavata Charcha Forum of Vrindavan. There they explain the purport as we read once will not be suffice. We say and go, Prabhu, I have completed Srimad Bhagavatam. I have completed 3 cantos. I have completed 6 chapters. All these things will not work. What they say is the purport are meant for studying at least 10 times minimum. Can you imagine how much dedication it requires? Right? So these are the various levels. Then one should remember the constant touch with the holy name, the constant touch with the Bhagavatam. One can definitely rise above the normal level. And one can see immediately the taste for it. Then when the taste comes, you will not have any other attachment. I'll tell you why you are asking that Shuddha Sattva level. The moment you reach that level, you will have no attachment to family life. You will have no attachment to the surroundings. You will always be in thought. You will be always in remembrance of the holy name and the narrations. So that is the topmost level. What we are trying to do, in your eyes, maybe we are doing much more than you, but we have to do much more what we are doing now. This is our understanding. So the more and more, that's what, even as I told you, Harinam Chintamani, it says repeated, keep doing. So never say, oh, I have done 16 malas for the day, enough. Never. So that should not be the mood. I remember His Grace Mahatma Prabhu, when he was giving the workshop on the holy name, he was telling, I have to do 16 rounds. When you say that, then it's wrong. He says, I like to do 16 rounds. So there is a big difference. So this type of narrations and the attraction towards the narrations cannot be thrusted upon someone. So it should come spontaneously. That's why Prabhupada says, when he talks about the pure bhakti, unalloyed, unmotivated, right? So everywhere, even the Nityam Bhava, that shloka also, what does he say? What is that? Shinvatam Sakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Hridyantastoha Badrani, Vidunodi Sigurtana. That cleanses the heart. That is the way we have to keep doing it, because still we are in the Grahasthasrama, we are living in a metro city, we have got all these attractions, but still to keep away those attractions, we have to be always in touch with the narrations. This is the only way. The more you spend time, that's why I request all of you again and again, so far whatever we have done little to this yatra or to this part of the world, we want to do more and more. As you said, definitely our relationship with each and every devotee, I always say this, it is eternal. That should be the mood. We never use the word, Prabhu, I will miss your association, I will miss your presence. Never, ever. Because nowadays the technology is so advanced, one can easily, the moment you call, will be there. Right? The moment I think of Bhagavan Govinda, Kavirupa, Sri Rupa, or Sri Rangadas, I can do it. So all that, we need that urge, right? Urge to be in touch with the devotees. That's very important. I remember, the more you make calls, the more you talk about Krishna, automatically the ruchi develops. In olden days, what happens? There was no mobile and all. Myself, Mani Prabhu, and we all sit together, and Mani Prabhu used to say, this Etisalat is a wonderful thing, what they have given. We have to thank them because the local calls are free. Take the landline call, speak for half an hour, the Bhagavad Katha. Nobody is going to question why you are doing it. But we had been doing it for some time, but later on also we could not continue that. Because we remember so many devotees were serious about Srimad Bhagavatam and all, just because over phone classes only. Because Geeta also used to do a lot. Nowadays she is not able to do much. That's why I said, no, our level of service and our level of things are ups and downs. We are not able to reach the real level still. Still we are keep on trying our best to perform more and more. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Please bless us, Prabhuji. Please bless, at least to reach 1% of your service, Prabhuji.
That's what I say, request again. The comparison cannot be done in general. Because what happens, see, each and every one level of bhakti, the Lord himself knows. That's why he is situated in the Hriday Pradesh, Hrideshu Arjuna Tishtati. So he understands it. So definitely your level of bhakti will be higher in one level. So each and everyone has got different things. So we are also trying to do something. Hare Krishna. Always we bless. That's what we can do, because we take the power, or we take the blessings of Guru Maharaj and Krishna, and we try to pass it on, because we are not really qualified to bless, but we always love to do this, taking note from Guru and Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Any other questions?
So for all your benefit, once again, I repeat, we have been doing these online classes of Srimad Bhagavatam in Tamil on a daily basis between 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Dubai timings. The same thing will continue after we go to Chennai also. Similarly, on a daily basis, we have got Srimad Bhagavatam Hindi plus little English, that is on everyday basis between 8 to 9. So 2 hours in a day, we are trying to do Srimad Bhagavatam Tamil and Hindi. So I request you to join and benefit in the process. We are also growing along with you. As you ask some questions like this, our puffed up mind will also get some slash. so that we understand we have to improve. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, 8 to 9 is morning time, Prabhuji? India?
No, both are evening only, ma.
Oh, okay.
78 and 8 to 9, both are PM only.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for this wonderful opportunity. So I utilize this time so wonderfully with the blessings of Gauranga devotees. And thanks to Sri Ranga Krishna Prabhu and their family and so many devotees. I have interacted with many of you, a few I have not. So we love to do all that. We try to expand our Vasudeva Kudumba as much as we can. Hare Krishna.
Please continue as mentioned by you. Even you go to Chennai also, please continue.
Yeah. See, that's what I am telling you. I can give my Chennai number. Always you are welcome to contact me for any of this type of queries and clarifications. We will try to explain with our limited knowledge. That's what I can say.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
All
much.
of you. Hare Krishna.
This is Parameshwar Prabhu ki jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Maharaj ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Pramanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you so
I'll
much.
take leave. I'll take leave.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Okay. Hare Krishna. Over to Vikram Prabhu.
I would like to thank His Grace Parameshwar Gaur Prabhu. We all have relished the nectarian lecture from Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, as we come to the last stage of our weekly program, the Kirtan, I would like to quote from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4.30.36. Yatra Narayana Shakshat Bhagwan Yashinam Gati Samstuyate Satkatashu Mukta Sangena Puna Puna. The Supreme Lord Narayana is present among the devotees who are engaged in hearing and chanting the holy name of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Narayana is the ultimate goal of sannyasis, those in this renounced order of life, and Narayana is worshipped through his Sankirtana movement by those who are liberated from material contamination. They recite the holy name again and again. I would give up the stage for the Kirtan to the team from the Sharjah.
Song Akaroda Paramananda Nityanandaraya has been written by Lochan Das Thakura and taken from the book Chaitanya Mangala.
Translation. The noble Lord Nityananda is never angry, for he is the personification of supreme transcendental bliss. Devoid of any concept of false ego, Nitai wanders about the town.
Going from door to door in the residence of the most fallen and wretched souls, he freely distributes the gift of the Harinama Mahamantra. He exclaims to whoever he sees while holding straw between his teeth, "Please purchase me by worshipping Gaura Hari."
Saying thus, Nityananda Prabhu rolls about on the ground, appearing like a golden mountain trembling in the dust.
Lochan Das Thakura says, whoever has not experienced the awakening of affection for such an avatara as this, that sinful person simply comes and goes uselessly in a cycle of repeated birth and death.
Akaroda Paramananda Nityananda Rai. Akaroda Paramananda Nityananda Rai. Akaroda Paramananda Nityananda Rai.
Akuroda Paramananda Nityananda Rai.
Abhimana Shunyanitai Nagare Vidai.
Abhimana Shunyanitai Nagare Vidai.
Abhimana Shunyanitai Nagare Vidai.
Abhimana Shunyanitai Nagare Vidai.
Akaroda Paramananda Nityananda
Akuroda Paramananda Nityananda
Akaroda Paramananda Nityananda
I would like to thank the Sharjah team for such a splendid and ecstatic kirtan. Thank you once again.